Hello, my dear listeners. This is your bar exam coach. I am attorney Jen Estabilio. So for today's lecture, I will be discussing about the law on obligations and contracts. So I will be discussing article by article, okay? But for purposes of this video, the coverage is the preliminary topics of obligations from articles 1156 to 1162. So I hope this lecture may aid your review or your study and even in your class discussion. So I will explain the provisions of the law in simpler terms for easy understanding. Okay? So let's start. Let us first define what an obligation is. Okay, ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng obligation? Or in Tagalog, obligasyon. Okay, this is derived from the Latin word obligatio, meaning to bind or to tie. Okay, so we have two kinds of obligations, no? First is the civil obligation and then second is the natural obligation. For the civil obligation, this is something that you must do because of a law, rule, or promise. Ibig sabihin, merong basehan na batas, or rule, or nangako ka. Yan ay under civil obligation. So a civil obligation is based on positive law which gives a right of action to compel performance in case of breach. No, pwede mo i-compel, no? This is the obligation defined under the Civil Code. So that is defined under Article 1156 of the Civil Code. Okay. Ibig sabihin diyan, kung meron kang hindi na-perform or nagawa na kailangan mong gawin, merong right of action yung kabilang party in case na nag-breach ka no sa pag-perform na obligation na yon. So that is under civil obligation. Now, what is this natural obligation? When you must do something because it is morally right. So a natural obligation is based on equity and natural law, which cannot be enforced by court action. Take note. Natural obligation cannot be enforced, no? Cannot be enforced by court action. Bakit? Dahil wala naman talagang basis ito sa batas. Kundi ito lang ay based on yung morals mo, yung equity, okay? Ano ba example nito? Obligation to help the community. Wala naman sinasabi sa batas na kailangan mong tumulong. Pero andun yung need eh. May mga instances na kailangan mong tumulong. So that is your natural obligation. What else? Obligation to financially support your relatives, yung mga kamag-anak nyo. Wala rin naman sa batas na kailangan mong tulungan ang iyong kamag-anak. Pero kapag tinulungan mo ang inyong relative, so that will become a natural obligation. Kung hindi mo naman ginawa yon, hindi ka naman nila pwedeng kasuhan o wala naman silang right of action against you. Ang pinagkaiba niyan, kung naman pagtulong sa magulang or ang magulang pagtulong sa anak, ayan, papasok yan sa civil obligation. Why? Because meron siyang basis sa family code. Okay? So, yun ang pinagkaiba ng civil obligation and then natural obligation. So, I will be discussing about civil obligation dahil yan ang defined under Article 1156 of the Civil Code. Okay. So for Article 1156, Book 4, Civil Code of the Philippines, an obligation is a juridical necessity to give, to do, or not to do. Okay. So memorize this definition. Okay. An obligation is a juridical necessity to give, to do, and not to do. Okay, so is this a complete definition? Sa tingin nyo, complete definition ba ito? According to Justice J.B.L. Reyes, Article 1156 is an incomplete definition since it treats the obligation only from the debtor side. Bakit? himay-himayin nga natin. Bakit sinasabing debtor side? Dahil nakalagay dyan. So, obligation is a juridical necessity, meaning may tie, may bond, no? To give, para magbigay, to do para gawin, or not to do para hindi gawin. So ito ay sa debtor side lang, yung magpa-perform ng obligation. So sabi ni Justice J.B.L. Reyes, this is an incomplete definition dahil hindi napakita yung creditor side, no? Yung may right of action. So, this definition should include no Article 2236 or 2236 where it states that the debtor is liable with all his property, present and future, for the fulfillment of his obligations, subject to the exemptions provided by law. Okay, so this is the complete definition. An obligation is a juridical relation whereby a person called the creditor may demand from another, called the debtor, the observance of a determinative conduct, the giving, doing, or not doing. And in case of breach, may demand satisfaction from the assets of the latter. So, himay-himayin natin itong complete definition na ito. So, sabi dyan, an obligation is a juridical relation, meaning based on positive law. Okay, juridical relation, meaning may bind, may tie. Okay. Whereby a person called the creditor. So, pinakita na rito yung creditor side, no? Kung sino yung pwedeng mag-demand ng performance sa debtor. The observance of a determinative conduct, okay, yung tatlong conduct na yan, the giving, doing, or not doing. And also, in case of breach, may demand satisfaction. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina na enforceable in court. So, this is the complete definition of an obligation. Pinakita ang creditor side, pinakita ang debtor side, pinakita rin kung ano ba yung mga conduct na kailangan gawin ni debtor, at pinakita rin na kung hindi pinerform ni debtor, merong recourse si creditor. So, mas kompleto, di ba? Alright. So, we have requisites of an obligation. So, my mnemonic there is PPDL. Okay, ano ba tong PPDL? First, it should be possible physically and juridically. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng gawin, no? Posible, no? Pwedeng gawin siya. It must be possible physically and juridically. Okay. Second, it must have a pecuniary value, no? Kasi for purposes of breach, merong pwedeng remuneration. So dapat meron siyang pecuniary value. And then third, it should be determinate or determinable. Meaning, specific, ano ba yung dapat gawin, ano ba yung hindi dapat gawin, ano ba yung dapat ibigay. And then four, okay, fourth requisite, it must be licit, no? Dapat legal, no? Dapat nasa batas. So, hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng obligation na illegal. Okay, so these are the four requisites of an obligation. So, my mnemonics again, PPDL. Next, what are now the elements of an obligation? So as you can see, my mnemonic is JOPA, no? Alam nyo, mahilig ako sa mnemonics para mas maalala. Ganyan ang, sabi ko nga sa nakaraan kong video, no? Isa sa tools, no, of memorizing provisions is to what? To make mnemonics or abbreviations. So for the elements of an obligation, my mnemonic is JOPA. So what is this? First is, it should have an active subject. Second, passive subject. Third, object or prestation. And fourth, juridical or legal tie. O kung mapapansin nyo, baka sabi nyo, bakit Chopay nauna naman sa A, active subject? So okay lang yon as long as memorize yung apat na elements, okay lang na hindi magkakasunod-sunod. Alright? So first, let's start with the active subject. So active subject is known as the obligee or the creditor. Siya yung tao who can demand the fulfillment of the obligation. Okay, siya yung magde-demand, di ba? Demanding si active subject. Sino naman si passive subject? A passive subject known as the obligor or debtor against whom the obligation is juridically demandable. Ibig sabihin, sa kanya pwedeng i-demand ni active subject yung performance of an obligation. Okay, so si active subject, siya yung creditor or the obligee. Passive subject, he or she is the obligor or the debtor who will perform the obligation. Number 3, there should be an object or prestation. No? This constitutes the object of the obligation. Ibig sabihin, ito yung subject matter ng obligation. Ano ba yung gagawin? Ano ba yung hindi gagawin? Ano ba yung kailangan ibigay? Okay, so yung tatlong yan yung object or prestation. And then number 4, juridical or legal tie. So a juridical or legal tie, this binds the parties to the obligation and which may arise from either bilateral or unilateral acts of persons. Okay, so yan yung nagbabind, no? Based on law, okay, or based on rule or based on promise. Okay, so pwedeng sabi dyan, bilateral or unilateral acts. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng reciprocal, silang dalawa, merong obligations, or yung isang tao lang ang merong kailangan gawin. Okay. So these are the elements of an obligation. Again, active subject, siya yung creditor who can demand fulfillment of the obligation. Passive subject, he's the debtor or obligor against whom the obligation is juridically demandable. And number 3, the object or prestation, this is the act of giving, doing, or not doing. Okay, yan yung conduct. And then, yung juridical or legal tie. So, as you can see, definition of the obligation, nandun yung an obligation is a juridical necessity. Yan yun. Yan yung number 4. Juridical tie, yun yung binding. Binding element, no? Between the active and the passive subject. So, the form in which the obligation is manifested is sometimes added as a fifth requisite. Yung form daw, minsan pang 5 requisite. As a general rule, however, it cannot be considered as essential. Okay, so meron tayong mga obligations na kailangan sumusunod sa forms. Ano yung mga yon? Okay, so we have a contract involving a donation of personal property whose value exceeds 5,000. The law requires that the donation and the acceptance shall be made in writing. Also, another example, in the contract to sell of a piece of land, no, kailangan din daw ng, it should be in writing. Okay? Pag nagbebenta ka ng lupa. What else? A contract of simple loan or mutuum. Okay? Kapag merong interest, no? Kailangan nasa in writing din. And what else? A contract involving a donation of immovable property. So the law requires that the donation shall be made in a public document, while the acceptance shall be made either in the same deed of donation or in a separate public document. So non-compliance with such formalities would have effect of rendering the contract or agreement void or inexistent. So yan yung pang-fifth na element. Yan yung mga exception sa general rule natin na hindi kailangan ng form. Okay, so yun kasi merong ibang mga obligations na kailangan in writing. So yan yung sinasabi nga na fifth element. So also, before going to this example, no, the obligations arising from quasi-contracts, acts or omissions punishable by law, so, and quasi-delicts, these sources of obligations do not require any form. Okay? However, there can be no question regarding their validity or binding force. Meaning, dito sila pumapasok sa general rule na kahit walang form, kahit itong JOPA lang ang meron sila, binding pa rin. Okay? So, exception lang when it needs to be in writing. Okay, so let's go to the example. Under a building contract, X bound himself to construct a house for Y for 1 million. Okay, so question, who is the obligor or debtor? Who is the obligee or creditor? What is the object or prestation? And what is the juridical or legal tie? O para mas maintindihan niyo yung elements no, ng obligation. So, himay-himayin natin dito sa example. So, dito, who is the obligor or debtor? The obligor or debtor is who? X. No? Kasi sabi niya dyan, X bound himself to construct a house. So, sino ngayon ang creditor? Who can demand that performance? Si Y. Okay, so Y can demand performance from X. So, what is the object or prestation? This is to construct a house. Okay, yung si X yung gagawin ni X. And then, what is the juridical or legal tie? Yun yung building contract or agreement. Okay, yan yung nagbabind dyan kay X and Y. Okay, so ganoon ang pag-analyze ha kung sino ang debtor, creditor, object, and then what is the juridical tie. So I hope this is clear. Another example. Suppose X had already constructed the house and it was the agreement that Y would pay X after the construction is finished. So now, who is the obligor or debtor? So nabaliktad na. Dito si Y na ang debtor. Okay, who is now the obligee or creditor? It is now X. No? Ano ba yung object or prestation? It is what? The payment by Y to X of the constructed house. Okay. So si Y na ngayon ang may obligation to pay X dahil nagawa na naman ni X yung kanyang obligation. Okay. So what is the juridical or legal tie? Again, the building contract or their agreement. Nasa agreement nila yan. So I hope this is clear, okay? So now, let's move on to the different sources or the 5 sources of obligations. Okay, so this is under Article 1157. So I have again a mnemonic. Okay, so that is LC Quack. Oh, di ba? LC Quack. Para mas maalala nyo, what are these 5 sources? So, reminder, no, this is an exclusive list. Meaning, dito lang ang sources of obligations, wala na pong iba. Alright, so what are these? First, law. Second, contracts. Third, quasi-contracts. Fourth, acts or omissions punished by law. And then fifth, quasi-delicts. Okay, so memorize this, okay? The sources of obligations, these 5 are exclusive, okay? There can be no other sources of obligations other than these. Okay, remember that. So that is LC Quack. Okay, so we have a case here, no? Domingo de la Cruz versus Northern Theatrical Enterprises Incorporated, no? GR number L-7090, August 31, 1954. Okay, so let's read the facts. In 1941, Domingo de la Cruz worked as a security guard for Northern Theatrical Enterprises Incorporated. While on duty, he shot and killed a gate crasher, Benjamin Marty, in self-defense after being attacked. He was later charged with homicide twice but was acquitted both times. De la Cruz then asked his employer to reimburse the legal fees he incurred in defending himself. Okay, naniningil siya ngayon sa employer niya, no? When the request was denied, he filed a case to recover those expenses along with moral damages. Now the question is an employer legally obligated to reimburse an employee for legal expenses incurred while defending himself in a criminal case that arose from the lawful performance of his duties? Okay. May obligation ba si employer na bayaran yung legal expenses ni Domingo? So let's see what the Supreme Court ruled. Okay. The answer is no. The employer is not obligated to reimburse an employee for legal expenses. The Supreme Court held that one of the sources must be present for an obligation to arise. Otherwise, there will be no obligation. Okay. Here, there is no law directly provides for reimbursement of legal expenses in such cases. The employer had no legal obligation to provide legal assistance to its employee. No, wala raw batas na nagsasabi na kailangan niyang tulungan yung employee niya. Okay. So the damages incurred here consisting of the payment of the lawyer's fee did not flow directly from the performance of his duties, but only indirectly. So ito yung critical din, no? Indirectly lang kasi because there was an efficient intervening cause, namely the filing of the criminal charges. So hindi talaga directly na nag-emanate sa performance ng kanyang duties. So walang obligation si employer. So yan yung explanation na dapat for an obligation to arise, it should what? Come from one of the sources of obligation. Okay, so in this case, wala daw, sabi ni Supreme Court. Alright. So again, these are the 5 sources and this is an exclusive list. So let us explain this further. For law, so obligations arise when they are imposed by the law itself. Okay, nasa batas. So, ganun lang kasimple. Nasa batas. So, may obligasyon ka. What are the examples? Obligation to pay taxes. What else? Obligation to support one's family. No? Your parents or your descendants. Okay? So, nasa batas yan eh. Kailangan mong gawin. So, emanating from law. What else? Letter C, contract. Okay. So, obligations arise when they are imposed by the contract. Okay. Or stipulation of the parties. Okay, so this should be when they arise from the stipulation of the parties. Okay, so there is an error in the slides, no? Kung mapapansin nyo, hindi na-edit. Okay, so makinig na lang kayo. So, ang contract, these arise from the stipulation of the parties. What is an example of this? Obligation to repay a loan by virtue of an agreement. Okay, so contract yon. Okay? Next, quasi-contract. When they arise from lawful, voluntary, and unilateral acts or LUV or love. No? So, para maalala nyo ito, no? Gumawa ko ng mnemonics, LUV or love. Ano ba yung quasi-contracts? Sabi dyan, obligations arise from lawful. Ibig sabihin, may basis sa batas, hindi siya illicit, licit siya. Okay? Voluntary, pagkukusa. And then unilateral, ikaw lang mismo. Walang inimpose yung ibang tao sa'yo. Walang inimpose yung another person. So that is a unilateral act. Galing lang sa'yo, nag-volunteer ka lang. So parang sa love, mali bang magmahal? Diba hindi? So it's lawful. Okay, wala namang maling magmahal eh. Voluntary. Kusa ba, pinilit ka ba na mahalin yung mahal mo? Hindi, voluntary mong minahal. Unilateral, yun nga lang, ikaw lang mag-isang nagmamahal. So, quasi-contract yan. No? Quasi-contract meaning, para siyang contract, pero hindi. Kamukha lang, kaya siya quasi. Kasi pag sinabi natin contract mismo, may meeting of the minds yan eh. May agreement yung dalawang party. Pero dito sa quasi-contract, walang agreement. Isang tao ka lang na nag-enter into that situation. Kaya siya sinasabing unilateral, tsaka voluntary. So, para nyo itong ma-equate sa one-sided love. Kaya LUV. Okay. So, this is enforceable to the end that no one shall be unjustly enriched or benefited at the expense of another. So, we have two principal kinds of quasi-contracts. We have negotiorum gestio. This means that under Article 2144, takes place when a person voluntarily takes charge of another's abandoned business or property without the owner's authority. Okay. So, for example, dito sa negotiorum gestio, yung property owner nasa ibang bansa, ngayon may typhoon, no? So, walang caretake or walang siyang caretaker na iniwan to look, no? To oversee yung kanyang property. So ngayon ikaw ang kanyang neighbor. Nakita mo merong damage sa property. And you want to do something to what? Not to have further damage to your neighbor's property. Gusto mong tumulong eh. So that is voluntary. No? So, for instance, inaayos mo yung fence niya para hindi na mas gumuho. So you voluntarily takes charge of another's property. So that is negotiorum gestio. So quasi-contracts dahil hindi ka naman inutusan na ayusin yung kanyang property pero inayos mo para hindi na magkaroon ng damage. So, here reimbursement must be made to the gestor, okay, for necessary and useful expenses. So, pwede kang mag-demand ng reimbursement kung ano yung ginawa mo to preserve the property. Okay. What else? Solutio in debiti. So, what is this? This is Article 2154. This takes place when something is received when there is no right to demand it, and it was unduly delivered through mistake, the obligation to return it arises. So meaning, kung may nagkamali lang na binigay sa'yo, pero hindi naman talaga para sa'yo, kailangan mong ibalik. Okay, so that is solutio in debiti, no? So wala namang kontrata, nagkamali lang naman yung, for example, nagpasukli ka, sobra yung naibigay sa'yo, no? So, unduly delivered by mistake lang yun, nagkamali lang yung cashier. So, kailangan mong ibalik. So, that is solutio in debiti. So, these two are principal kinds of quasi-contracts. So, we will discuss this further when we go to these articles, no, on quasi-contracts. Okay. Next. Third, no? Crimes or acts or omissions punished by law. So civil obligations arising from criminal offense. Okay, so when someone commits a crime, they are not only criminally liable, but also civilly liable. So example, theft. Okay, a person steals a car. So what are the two liabilities of that person? First, criminal liability that is punishable under the revised penal code. Second, civil liability. Ano ba yung civil liability? The thief must return the car or if no longer possible, pay its value to the owner. So meron tayong tinatawag na twofold, no? Twofold liability or dual liability. Okay. So, criminal and then civil. So, yung civil liability, yung focus natin dito, no, yung restitution of the car or indemnification of damages or reparation of damages. So, we have this scope of civil liability arising from crime. So, we have restitution, reparation for the damage caused, and indemnification for consequential damages. Okay, so for example, X stole the car of Y. If X is convicted, the court will order X to return the car or to pay its value if it was lost or destroyed. Second, to pay for any damage caused to the car. Okay. And then third, to pay such other damages suffered by Y, no? As a consequence of the crime. So yung tatlong yan, no, scope ng civil liability arising from crimes. Okay. And then, lastly, no, this is the fifth source of obligation, quasi-delicts or torts. Ano nga ba yan, no? Quasi-delicts or torts. When they arise from damage caused to another through an act or omission, there being fault or negligence, but no contractual relation exists between the parties. Okay. So, merong nangyari daw may damage, no? Pero wala silang ulit contractual relation. Kaya siya sinasabi ulit na quasi-delicts. Para siyang crime, pero hindi siya crime. Okay? Kaya quasi. Para yung kanina, yung contract, quasi-contract, para siyang kontrata, pero hindi naman talaga kontrata, no? So, yun yun. Yung ibig sabihin nila kaya may quasi, parang, pero hindi talaga. Okay, so, in this case, no, quasi-delict. So let us define this. A quasi-delict is an act or omission. No? Meron kang ginawa or meron kang hindi nagawa. No? By a person. A person Yung tawag dito ay tortfeasor, okay? Which causes damage, no, to another in his person, sa kanyang pagkatao, in his property, yung ari-arian niya, or yung rights niya, no? Giving rise to an obligation to pay for the damage done. Okay, nagkaroon siya ng right, no, na kailangan nung siyang bayaran, no, doon sa damage na nagawa mo sa kanya dahil meron kang ginawa or meron kang hindi nagawa. Okay? There being fault or negligence. Ikaw yan, no, na tortfeasor, no? Meron kang fault, kasalanan mo talaga, or naging negligent ka lang, hindi mo naman sinasadya. However, there is no pre-existing contractual relation between the parties. Ibig sabihin, wala kayong prior agreement or prior contract. Okay. So that is under Article 2176. So we have requisites of quasi-delict. So before a person can be held liable for quasi-delict, the following requisites must be present. First, there must be an act or omission by the defendant. Okay, so I've already explained yung act or omission. There must be fault or negligence. Next, there must be damage caused to the plaintiff. Kailangan may damage yung sinasabi natin kaninang pecuniary value, no? Para malaman kung magkano bang kailangan mong bayaran yung danyos, no? There must be a direct relation or connection of cause and effect between the act or omission and the damage. Okay, may direct relation daw. Okay, yung ginawa mo sa nangyaring damage. And then fifth, there is no pre-existing contractual relation between the parties. So these are the requisites of quasi-delict. So memorize these 5 requisites. Okay? So we have here examples para mas maintindihan nyo. Article 2183 and Article 2193. So first, okay, so tignan nyo pa lang sa picture, no? Kinagat ng aso yung person dyan. So the obligation of the possessor of an animal to pay for the damage which it may have caused. So kung alaga nyo yung aso na yan, nakawala siya, may nakagat, no, na passerby. Okay, so ikaw, na possessor ng animal na yon, ng owner ng dog na yon, ikaw ang kailangan, nagkakaroon ka ng obligation to pay for the damage you have caused to that person injured. Okay, so yan yung quasi-delict. No, meron ka kasing what? Negligence mo hindi mo na itali ng mabuti. Okay. Pero, wala kayong prior contractual relation, di ba? Wala naman kayong pinag-usapan, nakagatin siya. Okay, so tingnan nyo, i-check nyo lahat kung yung 5 elements na yon ay pasok, no? So, magkukonsider siya as quasi-delict. What else? The obligation of the head of a family that lives in a building or a part thereof to answer for damages caused by things thrown or falling from the same. Okay, so kung nakatira ka ngayon sa isang apartment, sa isang building, may tinapon ka, tingnan nyo yung picture, tinapon yung computer, no? Or sabihin natin yung vase nakalagay doon sa malapit sa veranda, nahulog yung vase. No, yung pusa mo naglalakad sa veranda, nasagi yung vase or ikaw mismo nakasagi. So, meron kang fault or negligent ka, hindi mo sinasadya, still, if you are the head of the family, you need to pay for the damage that you may have caused to the other person na na-injure. Baka may natamaan ka eh. Okay, so, papasok yan sa quasi-delict or torts. So this is different from crimes, no? Because of mens rea. Yung intention, no? Here, you have no malicious intention to commit a crime. Kasi ang pinagkaiba niya sa crime, yung mens rea, you have that intent to commit a crime. Okay? Kaya nga sabi ko kanina, quasi-delict, parang delict or crime, pero hindi talaga siya crime. Okay? Kaya siya quasi. Recovery of damages twice for the same act or omission is prohibited. So, take note of this also na kung merong mang criminal action, merong civil action din, once lang makaka-recover ng damages yung aggrieved party. Okay. Next, we have Article 1158. Obligations derived from law are not presumed Only those expressly determined in this code or in special laws are demandable and shall be regulated by the precepts of the law which establishes them, and as to what has not been foreseen by the provisions of this book. So, again, obligations derived from law are not presumed because among the sources of obligation, the law is the most important one. Okay? It does not depend upon the will of the parties. So, ito hindi siya presumed. Dapat specific na nasa batas para mag-arise yung obligation na yon. That is deriving from law. Okay? It is imposed by the state and is generally imbued with some public policy considerations. So, like yung example natin kanina, payment of taxes, it must be specifically directed by our tax statutes. Okay? So, you cannot presume, dapat nasa batas yung tax statutes natin. Also, parents and children are obliged to support each other as mandated by the provisions of the family code. Okay. So these are our examples as explained. Then Article 1159, obligations arising from contracts have the force of law between the contracting parties and should be complied with in good faith. Okay. So obligations arising from contracts. So unlike other kinds of obligations, those arising from contracts are governed primarily by the agreement of the contracting parties. So, a contract is a meeting of minds between two persons whereby one binds himself with respect to the other. As a rule, contracts are perfected by mere consent. Okay. So, two parties are involved here and then they agreed on something. Okay, may meeting of the minds. Okay, and then perfected by mere consent. As a rule, okay? Why? Pag sinasabi natin as a rule, laging may exception. So there are certain contracts, however, called real contracts, such as deposit, pledge, and comodatum, which are not perfected until the delivery of the object of that obligation. Kasi dito, sa deposit, pledge, and comodatum, kailangan may delivery muna yan nung mismong object, no? Bago ma-perfect yung contract. So hindi lang siya meeting of the minds, okay? However, whether the contract is consensual or real, the rule is that from the moment it is perfected, obligations may either be reciprocal or unilateral. Okay, so reciprocal or unilateral obligations will arise. So from the moment the contract is perfected, the parties are bound not only to fulfill what has been expressly stipulated, but also to all the consequences, which according to their nature may be in keeping with good faith, usage, and the law. Okay. So whatever stipulations, clauses, terms, and conditions are included in a contract. So kahit ano daw, as long as they are not contrary to law, morals, good customs, public policy, or public order, such contract is the law between the parties. So malaki ang bearing no, na obligations arising from contracts. Kung ano yung pinag-usapan yung parties, you need to comply in good faith. Okay? Kasi kung hindi, pwedeng breach yan of contract. No? Pwede kang may right of action na yung kabilang party once you breach, no? Or did not comply in good faith, no? Yung agreements in the contracts. So, kada ano stipulation, as long as hindi daw contrary sa law, morals, good customs, public policy, or public order. Okay? So, binding yan ha, between the parties. Obligations arising from contracts. Okay. 1160, Article 1160. Obligations derived from quasi-contract shall be subject to the provisions of Chapter 1, Title 17 of this book. So, yung example ko kanina, maalala nyo pa yan, yung possessor of an animal. No? Meron siyang nakagat. Okay. Ano pa? Merong natapon o nahulog from a building. Okay. So, ang liable yung head of the family. Okay. So, yan yung quasi-contracts. Okay. So in the case of Perez versus Palomar, no, it was noted that in a quasi-contract where no express consent is given by the other party, the consent needed in the contract is provided by law through presumption. Okay. So, presumptive consent ang tawag dyan. Kasi wala express consent. May presumption lang. Okay? Presumptive consent. Presumptive consent gives rise to multiple juridical relations resulting in obligations for delivery of the thing and rendering of service. Okay. Ibig sabihin, ano ba yung mga quasi-contracts natin? Katulad nung kanina, no, dito na example, yung possessor of animal, may nakagat siya. So, may presumptive consent na dyan. You have to pay for damages. And then the other person have the right to ask, no? Ask for damages, okay? For the injury that your your pet, no, may have caused. Okay. What else? Article 1161. Civil obligations arising from criminal offenses shall be governed by the penal laws, subject to the provisions of Article 2177 and of the pertinent provisions of Chapter 2, Preliminary Title Human Relations, and of Title 18 of this book, regulating damages. Okay, so civil obligations arising from criminal offenses, so we have dual aspects. So as earlier mentioned, every person liable for a felony or crime is also civilly liable. Okay, so yun yung dual aspect na sinasabi. So question, if the accused in a criminal action is acquitted of the offense charge, can a civil action for damages based on the same act or omission still be instituted? Again, the question, if the accused in a criminal action is acquitted of the offense charge, can a civil action for damages based on the same act or omission still be instituted? Ano sa tingin nyo, no? Na-acquit na raw siya sa criminal action. Pwede pa kaya ma-institute, no? Yung civil action. Okay, so you have to qualify your answer. First, the answer is yes if the acquittal is based on the ground that his guilt has not been proved beyond reasonable doubt. Hindi lang napatunayan na guilty siya. Okay. So, pwede nyo pa rin institute ang civil action. Kasi ang kailangan na lang dyan ay preponderance of evidence. Okay, so mapag-aaralan nyo yan sa inyong criminal procedure, the what quantum of evidence needed, no? In civil action or in criminal action or admin action. Okay. So the answer is no if the acquittal is based on the ground that he did not commit the offense charge. So dito naman, hindi ka pwede mag-institute ng civil action kung the accused was acquitted based on the ground that hindi talaga siya. He did not commit the offense charge, no? So bakit siya maging civilly liable kung hindi naman talaga siya? No? Ang nag-commit ng offense na yon. So the answer there is no. So you have to qualify your answer in this particular question. So you have to check ano ba yung basis ng acquittal. Okay? Lastly, Articles 1162. Obligations derived from quasi-delict shall be governed by the provisions of Chapter 2, Title 17 of this book and by special laws. Okay, so obligations derived from quasi-delict. So we have defined this earlier, okay? So Article 2176, whoever by act or omission, no, causes damage to another, there being fault or negligence, is obliged to pay for the damage done. Such fault or negligence, if there is no pre-existing contractual relation between the parties, is called a quasi-delict. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, from Article 1158 to Article 1162, in-enumerate lang dyan ano ba yung sources of obligations. Okay, so yun lang yung kabuuan nung chapter 1 na ito. Okay, so definition of the obligations, okay, the definition, the requisites of an obligation, okay, yung PDPL, okay, you can give your own mnemonic dyan, okay. What else? Elements, no? Yung JOPA. Ito yung pinaka-importante, sources, no? Based on law, based on contract, based on quasi-contract, based on acts or omissions or commissions of a crime, okay? And then, what else? Quasi-delicts, okay? So these are the 5 sources of obligations. Okay, so for the next topics, I will be discussing Articles 1163 to 1178. Okay, so that is all about the nature and effects of obligations. And then I will also discuss some related past bar questions. Okay, marami tayong bar questions no regarding the nature and effects of obligations. Okay, so stay tuned for our next lecture about the obligations and contracts. So I hope you've learned something, and I hope I was able to explain these articles of obligations, the preliminary articles, no, in simpler way. And I hope you are able to understand no, my examples. And then we will delve deeper about the quasi-contracts, the quasi-delicts, when we go to the specific articles about those topics. So there's a separate article about those topics, no? So yung diniscuss natin kanina, pahapyaw lang mga yan. Okay? So we will get into details, no, as we go along. So again, this is your bar exam coach. You may subscribe, like, or give a comment, no? In my YouTube channel, Your Bar Exam Coach by Attorney Jen Estabilio, and you may reach me through Telegram at Your Bar Exam Coach 22, and you can also follow me in Twitter, no, at Bar Exam Coach 22, and also you can also follow me in my Facebook account, no, Your Bar Exam Coach. So I hope you've learned something, and see you again. Okay, so listen to me again in my next lecture. So thank you for listening, and I appreciate all your comments. No, I've been reading your comments, and I appreciate it a lot. So thank you, and God bless, and good luck. Okay, bye.